Hi guys, how are you doing? D Junior here. Today I wanted to tell you all about a rather hellish process that I'm going through right now in order to obtain my work permit and visa for Taiwan. I feel like I'm literally experiencing my own Kafkaesque nightmare right now, but fear not. You may not need to suffer as much as me, as I will arm you with the info you need to get your work permit and visa. It can be done. You may also be wondering why I'm playing so much footage of Hong Kong in my videos. It's because I lived there for 7 months last year, so I have a ton of B-roll that I want to make use of. Simple as that. Anyway, let me tell you all about my experiences so far. Okay, so, well done. You've got the job. You've even signed a contract. Time to start booking those plane tickets, right? Ha! Wrong. Yes, maybe in the before times, and maybe even in the after times, you could just fly into Taiwan as a tourist and then change your status to a worker afterwards. But since March 2020, all visa on arrival entry, that is, tourist entry, has been banned due to COVID. Even this month, work visas are temporarily banned, though I will get to that later. So what's first? Well, to get your work visa, you need your work permit, and to get your work permit, the company you have got the job with needs to apply for this in Taiwan, and to do that, they need a bunch of documents from you, and so the bureaucracy begins. So what do they need? They need your original signed contract, both the English one they've probably sent to you, and a Chinese one which they will be drafting up. It is this Chinese one, though, which is the most important. They also need a clear photocopy of your passport ID page, a photocopy of a criminal background check dated within 6 months, a photocopy of your original degree certificate if this is needed for the job, an authenticated health check, which takes a lot of time and I will explain in detail, and 6 passport-size photos. Okay, that was a bit of a hassle, but that doesn't sound too hard. A week or two to get that together, tops. Ha! Wrong again. See, before you send off that health check, it needs to be authenticated by your local Taipei representative office, which is basically just a Taiwanese consulate, but in most countries they have to call it that because most countries don't officially recognize Taiwan as a country. The health check itself is also pretty extensive. So, what's in this health check? Well, there are two parts: the physical examination and the laboratory testing. The physical exam consists of basic stuff like height, weight, blood pressure, body temperature, vision, heartbeat, etc. But the laboratory testing is where things get difficult. The check requires a chest x-ray for tuberculosis, proof that you've had the vaccine for measles and rubella, whether that's by giving your vaccination record or by having a blood test, which is the route that I went down, and you need to test negative for syphilis. So once you have got all of those tests together, with all the evidence from those tests enclosed, signed by your doctor, stamped by your clinic, and a passport style photo attached, then you can move on to the next step. Now, here's where your experience may differ. The Taipei Representative Office requires that the health check be legalised, that is, apostilled, before it can be authenticated. But the UK government says that in order to get a document legalised, it first needs to be notarised. Now, it was not made clear to me whether a doctor's signature counts as notarization or not, but according to my employer, it did not, and I required a public notary to notarize my document first. However, this might not be necessary for you. But anyway, I spent £60 getting my document notarised by a public notary before then sending it off to be legalised for a further £35, including a return postage fee. So now you're probably getting some heart palpitations and your cortisol levels are through the roof. But wait, it's not over yet. Time to get that health check authenticated. Because it's COVID, you can't just drop that damn thing off at the consulate. You need to send it. I suggest special or tracked delivery just to be safe. But there are some things you need to include. You need to include the necessary prepaid self-addressed return envelope in order for them to be able to send it back to you, a clear photocopy of your passport ID page, and a completed authentication application form, as well as photocopies of your health certificate itself. You also need to send payment. You can pay in a number of ways. Pre-COVID, you could stroll in and pay by cash, but nowadays you have to either pay by bank transfer, postal order, A company check, note they do not accept personal checks, or a banker's draft with an international sort code if paying from outside the country in which you need the document authenticated. You also need to send them an email including a subject line saying your full name and the service you are paying for, and you need to say in the body of the email the bank account holder's name, the applicant's full name, the application type, and the total amount paid. Now, for the express service in the UK, it is £18, and the regular service is £12. Okay, wow, that was painful, and the mere sight of an envelope now sends you into bouts of anxiety and fear. But there's a couple of small things you need to do before sending off this giant package of documents to your employer in Taiwan. Firstly, if you're in the UK, a DBS check does not count as a criminal background check for Taiwan. You need what is known as an ACRO police certificate. It costs £95 for the express service, which is 2 working days, and £60 for the regular service, which is 10 working days. If you're in the US, a state police background check does not count. You need an FBI background check. Secondly, on every photocopy of any document that you are sending, you need to write your full name, that is, the one on your passport, in block capitals, and then sign that and date underneath. Additionally, for any document that does not have your full name on it, for instance, maybe it misses out your middle name, you need to attach a printed off sheet that looks like this, declaring that the shortened name is the same person as your full name. The bureaucracy meter is off the charts at this point. The very last thing you need to do before sending that all off is to make sure that you scan everything. Your employer will want to see that firstly, you are sending off everything that needs to be sent, and that you've filled in everything correctly, and they also want to make sure that they have digital copies of everything in case it gets lost on its way to Taiwan. So now comes the sending. My employer recommended DHL as a courier to me, but you may prefer other ones. Either way, make sure it's sent by a tracked courier, and make sure you have the address right. Now, you take a massive breather and wait. There is not much you can do at this point. If, unlike my situation right now, you are confident that COVID won't stop you from applying for a visa, then you can probably start looking at accommodation and figuring out where you want to live. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to focus on the admin stuff. After your employer has sent these documents to the Workforce Development Agency of Taiwan and applied for your work permit, they will send that work permit to you. Once you receive your work permit, you can then apply for your visa. Well, again, you can do so if work visas are not banned, as they currently are for 1 month as of making this video, but I will make an updated video once I've gone through the visa process, and I promise it will be up to date, as I will be one of the very first people to go through it after the restrictions are lifted. Alright guys, thanks for listening. Hope you can get your work permits sorted like I've been doing, and I'll see you on the next one.